All right. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining the webinar today, and welcome to the topic today that we're going to be discussing later. So my name is Jun Liang, and I am the senior trader here with Amazon Seller Education team. So Sean will be joining later for the Q&A. If there's any questions you would like to ask about brand protection, please do put it into the Q&A box, and we will be able to address it during and before the end of the live webinar. All right. So we will kickstart now. It's already a little bit over 2 p.m. So thanks everyone for joining me in today's Friday afternoon. I will go on to the next slide. Now, before we begin, I just want to share again that this webinar will be recorded, and then you can find it in our official YouTube playlist. So the resources that I'm sharing in today's session will also be shared in the video description, so you can head over there and check it out. So if you have any question, like I mentioned earlier on, please put it into the Q&A box. And also last but not least, do always refer back to the online resources from Seller University or Seller Central Help for the latest information that is provided if, let's say, you were to chance upon these videos a couple of months down the road. Please do make sure that you refer back to the official Seller University and Seller Central help, especially for things like policy update, etc. Right? Or alternatively, you can find a newer video. So do take note of this. All right, so today this is what we will be covering. There are 4 or rather maybe 3 key topics. Now we will talk about Amazon Brand Registry. How do you actually go about doing the enrollment? And if there were any infringement, how can you go about reporting? So I will start off with, first of all, what are the 3 key advantages of having been registered in Amazon Brand Registry? First of all is accurate brand representations, and you have a proactive brand protection. And last but not least, has a full cycle support for brand building. So I will go through a little bit more in the following slides. Now, basically, it will enable a greater influence from the exposure. You have greater control, and also automatically Amazon will monitor, block, and remove any content that is suspected or suspicious of kind of infringing or falsely representing your brand. So like I mentioned earlier on, if you were to complete this Amazon brand registry, getting enrolled, you can get up to 30 over brand marketing and protection tools. But do take note that not all tools are available for sellers in Southeast Asia yet, but most of it are already available. All right. But today specifically, we will be talking about brand protection, which is this segment over here. All right. But you can have an idea of, what other tools there is available to help you grow your brands. So here we are. What is this Amazon brand protection that we're talking about? So there is protection before and so-called protection after. Right. So what it means is that now before a brand violation, so Amazon has this brand protection where they will attempt to identify and remove potential malicious listing. Like I mentioned, the listing that is suspicious or suspected to be infringing your brand. All right. And afterward, let's say there was some violation, you can actually report on the products or the ASIN on the marketplace that is infringing your brands. All right. So these are just some top level impact that we see for brand protection. You can see there is about more than 700,000 brands over the world is already registered on Amazon Brand Registry. I believe there is a lot more already up to today. And of course, how effective is it, the impact. This gives an idea of the importance of having been registered in Amazon Brand Registry. So first of all, now we go right in through what is Amazon Brand Registry. This is usually the first step of your brand protection journey, all right? So this is to share with you what are the so-called the preliminary preparations. All right, now first of all, you want to know which country or the region that the trademark that you can apply to. So we would say that it's recommended to apply for local trademark in the country that you are doing business with. All right, so let's say if you are doing business selling to the US customers, it would be recommended to have a trademark in the US. All right, however, if you have the trademark from the countries listed over here, you can still apply to enroll in the Amazon brand registry. So what are the type of the trademark that you can use to register for brand registry? You can go for a text-based trademark over here, or you can go for a trademark that has words, letters, or numbers. All right, so which is image-based. All right, so currently Amazon brand registries only accepts text-based or image-based trademark. And there are different trademark status that you can know of. So the brand registry, right, you can enroll in the brand registry using the both TM, the trademark, or the registered mark. All right, so these are the difference. So if you are still a pending trademark, you would have the automatic brand protection. All right, and these are the things, and you can also report some of the violation or infringement, etc. All right. So the R symbol usually just represent a mark that is a registered trademark with the US PTO. All right. So how can how or where you can help to get your trademark registered, right? One of the ways is what we call the Amazon IP Accelerator. So over here, I will share the link as well. Over here, you can find a list of partners that can help you accelerate your trademark process. All right, there's a lot of services available. Rates are very competitive, and it helps the brand to secure. This is for the US trademark. All right, because of their experience, you will have a faster access to your brand protection. Now we will go into the step-by-step guide. All right, so first of all, these are the checklists to prepare before you kickstart the brand registry enrollment process, right? Ensure you have a clear picture of the brand on the product or packaging of both. All right, ensure you already have your trademark registration number and your application number if you have a pending trademark. And then a list of examples of ASINs for your branded product on Amazon. All right, and then your countries where your branded product are manufactured or distributed. All right, and product categories of the brand, is it clothing, sporting goods, or electronic, etc. Right? Now take note of the following. Ensure that the type of trademark is correctly entered, meaning that you have to choose whether is it a work mark or design mark. All right, design mark will be an image-based trademark. So you have to upload the trademark image exactly as it appear in the local trademark office. So what it means is that whatever you upload into Amazon brand registry should be something that you submitted to your local trademark office. And then the rest of the info is to make sure that your contact information is up to date. All right. These are the 7 steps for brand registry enrollment. Right, we'll go through the step-by-step guide over here. All right, step 1, you go to the Amazon brand registry site. So how you go there, you can go to the brand registry site directly, or you can go to your seller central and then you head on to brands and you can go to brand registry and click there. It'll bring you to the site. All right. Now you can log in with your selling account. This is step 2, meaning that you log in with the same account that you use for Seller Central. So use the same credentials that you use to sign up for the Amazon brand registry site, right? So when the account is created or is connected to your Seller Central account, you can go to select enroll a new brand. All right, step 4, you can start to provide your brand information. These are the details. All right, so these are the information that will be asked from you when you are enrolling your brand, such as what is the brand name, which trademark office did you register your brand, the registration or serial number, etc. All right, just follow through the guide and also upload the images of your products that have your brand on it. So this is other information that you need to put it in accurately. All right. You can see here. So if you are applying as a registered trademark, you need to enter the registration number. If you're applying with a pending trademark, you need to enter the application number. All right. So you also need to indicate here what's the current status. Is it registered or is it pending? All right, etc. over here. Lastly, over here at the bottom, you need to include the images that I mentioned earlier on, either a word mark or a design mark. So make sure that if you select a word mark, then you only upload the word mark. If you select a design or image mark, then you upload the design or image mark. Okay, so to highlight again regarding the images, right, you need to make sure that your image or your product packaging clearly shows your brand's name, logo, or other distinguishing mark permanently affixed to the product. All right, the keyword here is permanently. You cannot use any form of like stickers, etc., to represent your brand by putting it on the product, right? And over here, the next step is to provide a seller account information. Now we always select seller here because all of you are sellers, you're not vendors here. So do select seller over here. All right, and then you can select which account represent your brand. That is assuming you have already multiple account that you already have in Seller Central that is connected, then you will be able to see your different account showing here. And then over here is you got to provide a list of the category. All right, so you need to provide a category which best describes your brand. All right, next over here, there are some other questions regarding the distribution information. You can also add it in. So the last step is after submission, right? You have to wait for approval. Once you complete all the steps above, follow the instruction on the page, submit the information, and there is a verification code that is required from you. And then you wait for the review from the Amazon Brand Registry team. All right. So first thing first is make sure that you enter the verification code within 14 days when you receive the code via the email. So after you submit, right, do look out for the email updates. It will come from this email, brandregistrysupport@amazon.com. So there are some questions regarding the registration process. All right, I will address it here. These are the three very common questions. Right, first of all is you are a brand owner, in other Amazon marketplace. Now, do you have to register again for the US marketplace? So you can do it like this. All right. So you can sign into your primary brand registry account, the account that you first, registered under the brand registry. All right. So for example, here is if you are a brand owner on Amazon.sg, then you have to go to a website, brandservices.amazon.sg. All right. And then you can raise a case with the brand registry support and select fixed user related roles. And then you can indicate in the free text that says you would like to extend so-called a service to the other selling account and provide your merchant token. So how you can find your merchant token? You go to your Seller Central account. All right, the account that you want to connect to, and then you go to settings. Under account info, you can find merchant token. So another common question is, how do I add new or additional trademark, right? So under the brand registry website, once you gain access, you can choose an option that says provide other or add additional trademark. Over there, you can do it. Right, the last quick commonly asked question is, I registered but do not have a brand building access yet, meaning the brand building features and tools such as the A+ content, stores, Vine, or others, right? So if you realize you do not have it, even though you are brand registered, well, what you can do is once you're logged into your selling account, raise a case with the selling partner support, and then you can mention things like, I'm the brand owner of your brand name and would like to request access to the feature such as the A+ and store, etc. And they should be able to do it for you. And once it's done, they will actually inform you over the case log. All right, the third part. So what happens, after you are already enrolled in brand registry, and then you find that some listing is actually infringing your brand's um, So what can you do? So this is the infringement reporting process that I'm going to share. Right, it's kind of very small, but there's a couple of ways that you can report on. So on the report violation side, you can choose to either search for that violating listing via the global search, image search, or you can even do the bulk async search. Right. So basically, you can search for it and you can look at which are the so-called listing that is infringing your brand. So next, I'm going to share with you a few different types of infringements. There is copyright infringement, first of all, and what is it about? So the copyright infringement is about this over here. You can read through it. So basically, it's about designing. Copyright is designed to protect the original work, such as videos, movies, songs, books, or musical pieces. So to get this copyright protection, the work has to be created by the author with certain novelty. Right? If you are the original creator, then you would have entitled the copyright of that work, right? So what is trademark, right? Trademark is words or symbol, designs or combination, such as your brand names or logo. All right, it is something a company uses to identify its goods or services that differentiate themselves from other company. All right. And lastly, there is what we call the patent infringement. So patent is a legal protection type regarding invention. All right. So it is to the owner of a published patent. All right. And with that, right, it is entitled to forbid others from manufacturing, using, or offering, sale, selling, or importing the invention into the country where the patent is registered, and it's usually for a fixed number of years. All right. And then typically there are three types of patents for inventions: utility model patents and design patents. So these are the overview of the different types of infringements in the brand registry platform that you can file. So this is the typical reporting process. All right, it's a 5-step process. I will show you step by step. All right, so what to do now? Step one, if you found that you want to report infringement of your brand, step one, you can go to the brand protection dashboard. All right. Method one, you can go through the Amazon Seller Central page under brand and brand protection and select report violation. All right. Another way is you can log into brand registry directly yourself. Basically, you will bring you to the same workflow. Step two, this is the part that you have to search for the listing or the ASIN that you think is infringing your brand, right? So you can have a different type of search. There's 3 approach: global search, and then bulk ASIN search, or image search. All right. So you need to make sure that you are selecting the right marketplace. All right. And then you can enter the brand, so-called, or the product, or if you know the ASIN, you can put here. Or if you need to put multiple, you can use a comma to add on multiple up to 100 ASIN. All right. Or you can even upload the image, and then they will be able to search for you. Right. So example, you found something already. So let's say this is the listing that you wanted to report on. So you can choose a few options. All right. So you can either report the entire ASIN, number 1, or you can report a sub ASIN. Let's say only one of the child ASIN that is infringing your brand. Then you can select it. All right. And then there are other information you can show. The other offers means that you can show what are the other similar listing that is listed by the other seller. You could over here, yeah. So you can also check the box here if you think they are also infringing your brands. All right. And then 4th is you can also report the image itself. Right. So you can select which other image. Let's say if you are reporting the infringement of your copyright images, etc., you can also do that. Right. So once you selected that, right, you will have to choose. There's an option on the top right. I think it's a bit blur, but I can read it out for you. So once you select the product or the ASIN that you want to report on, you can then select what is this issue. Is it a copyright infringement, or is it a patent infringement, or is it a trademark infringement? All right. And then there will be a form that you need to put in more information over here. Let me just zoom in for you to let you see what are the kind of information that you ask. All right, they'll ask what best describe your issues, and a couple of issues over here. All right, and then you can select which are the brand name that is registered under you that is reporting for the infringements. All right, and then provide the link to the infringing work, to the copyrighted work which you believe is being infringed, meaning your original work over there, so that the team can investigate. So these are the consideration when reporting a violation. All right. So remember, to choose the right infringement type, and then submit all the required materials during the reporting process. All right. So you can escalate the previous report, but do not repeat report that have already been reviewed. It may cause further delay. All right. The tools for reporting violation only support reporting potential IP infringement, right? So the last part is if you report violation, they are not intellectual property infringements, you might need to go to take a look at the abuse policy under Seller Central, performance, account status, and report Amazon policy abuse. All right, so sometimes it may not be a IP infringement, so it might be just some form of abusement. So you will have to go to the option to report the abuse instead of filing a infringement of the IP. All right. So yeah, so for those of you who have questions, please do feel free to put it into the Q&A box and we can address it after this. Now, I have a couple of very common questions here to share with everyone. So please do have a read here. I will be going through, and then if you have any other questions, you are welcome to put it into the Q&A box. All right. Now, the very first question is, if I want to sell on Amazon, what do I need to do first? Do I open a store, or do I register a trademark first? Now, the short answer is you can open a store without a trademark actually, so you do not really have to wait for the trademark. So, however, we will recommend you to apply, or rather, the idea of having to apply a trademark should be something on your agenda in the early stage of your store opening, your Amazon store opening, or you can actually do both together, to get the trademark uh, for the brand registration at the earliest reason. Okay, at the earliest time for some of the reason here. All right, so if you do that at the same time, you can actually help to accelerate new store order issue. Okay, you can use a brand name in listing as well as brand building tools such as graphic videos and brand flagship stores after your brand registration. All right, and then it can also help to strengthen the management and control of listing. So owning your own brand and registered, right, prevent abuse of a brand name and trademark, and you can also report infringement to Amazon. And also you can avoid what we call the trademark squatting. So you might have already experienced something like this. All right, so the idea that we usually have is to sell first, then brand later. It may lead to these, brand trademark squatting due to subsequent trademark application, right? Okay, so for those who don't know, right, the definition of trademark squatting is actually a kind of intellectual property theft, whereby a person or a business actually use a trademark or a copyright name to kind of register some online assets like a domain name, to start a website, etc. So in order to kind of profit from the brand itself. And then what this person will does is actually attempt to sell the domain name or other asset back to the trademark holder, like the trademark owner, like yourself, to get a profit. All right, so this is also what we know as trademark hijacking or cyber squatting. Right, so if you are thinking about the long term where you want to grow your brand, then this is something you need to think about to start your brand registry process on getting your trademark at the same time when you are starting your store, so that let's say if one day you know that your business actually do very well, you won't be having this issue of having to spend more money to actually get back your for example, like your domain name, your website, etc. So there's another common question is, can I still create a listing without a brand? So that is for sure, right? You can create a listing without a brand. So I can show you in the next slide how you can do that. All right. So firstly, when you are creating the listing, let's say if the product that you're selling doesn't have a brand, you will have to check this. There's an option that says this product does not have a brand name, and then the field will be populated as generic. All right. So yes, you can still create a listing without having your brand, but do take note that you won't be able to change it. Let's say if later on down the road, this item that you are selling is something that perhaps is an item that you customize, or get it made. So it's kind of unique. It's something that it is your branded product, but just so happen that you have not registered your brand, so you have to use this option. So down the road, if that happens, right, you can't change the brand name, so you might potentially lose your reviews, etc. Due to that. All right, you might have to rebuild, certain things like if you're running ads, etc. You might also have to reset it up. Right, so do take note of this in the longer term. Is that if you were to already create a listing as generic, you cannot delete it and change another brand. Okay, this is same for if you already created like a specific brand and you realize you want to change it to maybe you're register for another brand, you won't be able to do that. You have to delete or create a new listing. Okay. All right. So there's another scenario. So let's say the product have a brand. The product you want to sell have a brand. Can the seller obtain permission to use the brand. There is two ways actually you can do that. Now, first one is get a brand name sales application. All right, so this basically just means that you still put in a brand and you kind of get it approved in a way, all right, without having going through the brand registry. All right, the good thing is fast. You can get it approved, assuming that that is something that nobody uses. You're putting in a brand that is not an existing brand or whatever. All right, but the con is that the so-called this brand name that you get it approved will not be eligible for the protection that we talked about earlier on. All right, you cannot report any violation, etc. Those tools won't be available until you are registered in the brand registry. All right. So method two, which is actually probably the preferred way, in my opinion, will be to enroll in the brand registry. All right. So once the brand registration is completed, you will have the comprehensive brand protection and brand building tools available for you, and you can prevent yourself from any kind of infringement. All right. But of course, the con is it's going to take probably a long time for trademark application if you do not have one. All right, I will share with you later on, like depending on where you're applying for, right? Yeah, this is the question. So the question is, how long does it take to apply for a trademark? I heard that it takes 10 months to a year to get Amazon brand registry. Is this true? So the answer is when the trademark application is submitted, it normally takes 1 to 2 months to get the pending trademark. All right, and then you can initiate the Amazon brand registration right away. But again, I would say the application period varies country by country and region. Okay, so I can only share on the Singapore perspective, since I'm from Singapore. So in Singapore, the organization to apply for your trademark is through the IPOS, Intellectual Property of Singapore. So in my experience, right, it doesn't take that long. I think the longer part is probably, if you are not an existing brand owner, the longest part is probably to think what should your brand be, what kind of brand name that you want it to be, because this will go through, I think, your longer round of research. Right, of course, if you go to the website, there are some tools to help you decide. You can put in so-called the brand that you want to apply for trademark or the images. The iPOS will actually, from the database generate a list of these so-called mark trademark that they think are similar based on the keywords you put in, and you yourself will have to do your due diligence to review every single rows of these similar trademark that they produce to see whether do you think you have a similar trademark to those already existing. All right, assuming you're going to get it through iPOS. All right, so once you're done, if you realize you want to go to do it, right, it's actually not that long. All right, for Singapore, if you were to get a Singapore trademark, it's not that long actually. Yeah. But I should say there is a difference, right? You can get a Singapore trademark and enroll in brand registry. You can still get the brand feature unlock, right? But the difference is if you are selling in Amazon.com, you would ideally want to have a US trademark, because only then you can enforce those brand protections, like taking down a listing or report the direct infringement, etc. in the US, right? So which are the countries accepted for Amazon brand registry? So currently, these are the countries that Amazon brand registry will accept, meaning that they will accept the so-called the application coming out from this country, and then Singapore is one of it. So I will also share the website regarding the eligibility. There will have a list of which are the IP officers in a different country that is accepted, where you can go and apply for the trademark if you are one of this country. Right. However, if you want, to accelerate this brand, your brand journey, you can actually go to the website. All right. These are the service providers available. You have engaged them yourself directly, so they can help you to get your brand set up and ready in the US. All right. So Amazon doesn't really charge a fee per se. The fee will be something you need to discuss with the service provider yourself. Yep. All right. So another question is, if I open a store and multiple sites at the same time, meaning you open a store in Amazon US, you open a store in Amazon SG, etc. All right, do I need to apply for a local trademark on each site? Okay, so what we suggest is you can apply a trademark on your primary site first. All right, and go through the brand registry, and then you can grant the permission of brand to use to your account on other site by authorization. Okay. So the pro is that you can allow multiple sites to obtain brand building tools, like I mentioned earlier on. All right. However, the con is that you're not eligible for brand protection on site without your brand. All right, meaning that if your brand your trademark in the US, you can extend the feature to example like in the Singapore store. So your Singapore store can also use the brand building tools. However, the brand protection that you are eligible is only on the US because your trademark is in the US. All right. So if you also want the same brand protection to be applied to your SG store, then you have to get a Singapore trademark. I hope I'm clear with that. So the trademark is actually country dependent, right? Each trademark is tied to the country. So this is what I was talking about just now, right? So this is the case. If I own a US trademark and complete the brand registry, but I don't have a Singapore trademark, can I use the infringement reporting tools to report a Singapore ASIN? So this is what I was saying about. So apparently, no. All right. So if there is a Singapore ASIN that is so-called infringing your brand, but your trademark is in the US, you won't be able to report the infringement for the Singapore ASIN. All right, because the seller yourself, you need to have a valid local trademark. All right, so you won't be able to submit any infringement report for that Singapore ASIN until you own the trademark in Singapore. Okay. So these are some ways. Let's say if you also have the trademark already, you can connect your different trademark. If you have more than one brand, you can manage all your brand in a single brand registry account actually. These are the options that you can go to on the brand registry website. If you go to manage intellectual property, over here you can connect your different trademark, right? If you go to access to selling benefits, so you can grant the so-called brand building tools to your other accounts, right? You can see in this example, there's Singapore, there's the North America account, all right, and then over here is if you have more account, you can add on to it. So this is another common question is, I am the trademark owner of this brand ABC, right? And I have completed the ABC brand registration on Amazon. And then you found that, someone is selling your product on Amazon, but then you never actually authorize anyone to do so. I've reported the listing so-called hijacking, but it's not accepted. Why is this so, right? So this is the answer. So the tools that we have for reporting violation only support the report of potential infringement, right? So if the listing hijack items do not violate your intellectual property right, the report will not be accepted, right? So if you, for example, you have verified that the item does have infringement, example, it's not an authentic product, you do it with a test buy, then you can report it. All right. If the item is not a fake one, then you won't be able to report it, meaning that the listing that you want to report is actually selling the original product of yours, just that you didn't authorize them to do so. All right. All right, so this is just last part to know, whether you want to authorize your manufacturer or brand to enter into exclusive distribution agreement for product is subject to the manufacturer or distributor. All right. So we do know there is such a thing. Amazon respect all this distribution authorization agreement, etc. But Amazon does not provide any assistance like this. All right. So this is probably the last Q&A already. Bear with me. Meanwhile, if you have other questions that's not answered, please let me know. Right, my report was not accepted. What should I do? So if you are actually reporting a violation and then it is not accepted, what you can do. So these are the possible situation. Right. So the IP right you are entitled, probably does not support the report submitted. You may have selected the wrong category, wrong type of infringement, or Amazon review and believe that the AC that you reported do not actually have an infringement. However, if you think there is other things or other consideration that Amazon might have missed during the review process, you can escalate with the Amazon brand registry. Okay, so basically you can create a case again to actually mention again why. All right. So these are some of the useful references that I will share at the video description. And then this is the Q&A part already. All right, so I hope everyone is still with me. So meanwhile, if you can help me, I'm going to share two polls. All right, two anonymous poll for you to give me some feedback on the experience today and whether or not I help to address any questions that you may have. All right, I'm going to launch the first poll right now. Okay, thank you very much. So I will be here and look at the Q&A. If you have any questions, please do feel free to put into the Q&A box and I will address it. So meanwhile, to let you know, we have some other webinars upcoming. There's another one on the coming Monday, which is a lunchtime special. So we heard your feedback, and I know some of you actually mentioned that certain timings may be good. So we decided, we're gonna have a lunchtime special timing. It's actually a quick 30-minute session, so you can gather around with your friends or with your colleagues who are interested to come and sit into my live webinar. So we're going to talk about things like pre-Prime Day brand seller preparation. Now, for those of you who may not know, next week, the 11th of July, it's the big sale of Amazon Prime Day. All right, it's Amazon Prime Day on 11 July. All right. So, as a seller, there will be a lot of the opportunity to run promotions, merchandise, and showcase your product. And then, of course, for shoppers like yourself and myself, we will have the opportunity to also get really, really good deals from Amazon. All right, and these are the other topics. So, if you want to register, please do bookmark the page over here. Right, and then today's session will be available over here in the recording link. And also, if you are somebody who likes to read up, you can go to Seller University, whereby you can track your progress in the Seller University website. And last but not least, we have a very, very vibrant Facebook seller community group. If you are not in yet, please go ahead and join. There will be a lot of sellers like yourself that can help one another to address some of the common questions that you may have, so you do not have to wait until any of this Amazon session. You can ask a question there and some seller will be able to help you as well. And if there are any other topics that you think is very important or relevant that you want to know more, let us know in the survey. Once you close this webinar, there's a survey that pop up that you can actually key in longer details for us to understand what other topics that you want to know. so we can continuously upgrade or enhance or improve or make new content that is relevant to help your business grow. All right, so I don't see any questions already. I will still be here a couple of minutes, so if you need more time, feel free to put in a Q&A. If not, I will see you at the next webinar on Monday. All right, thank you everyone for your participation and your attention today. I really appreciate it. I will see you at the next session. My name is Jun Lang. All right, see you. Bye.